Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today, I really want to make a video about Goodwill. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion out there with TDOC in their Goodwill. And right now, Mr. Kevin seems to be having some issues with this, totally misunderstanding what it is. And so I wanted to look into that and figure out what's going on. So for starters, we're talking about financials. What is Goodwill? So we're going to go to Investopedia. Now, goodwill is the intangible asset that is associated with the purchase of one company by another. Specifically, it is the portion of the purchase price that is higher than the sum of the net fair value of all the assets. So what this means is, for example, when look currently at Twitter, look what's happening there with Elon Musk buying it. He's buying it like a 50% premium of the current price. And when you go and look at all the assets, they might come up with a number that the actual assets are only $1 billion worth of actual assets, right? Because all that other 49 billion, what is that? Well, that's all just the brand or whatever and all this crap. But the thing is, that amount, because it's not a tangible asset, it gets, when they buy that company, so when Elon Musk goes and buys Twitter, on the books, he's going to have this huge goodwill amount of something like $49 billion, for example, right? And that's all the extra that you paid. Now, this is very common that there's goodwill impairments because very often companies buy other companies and they pay way too much. And then the acquisition doesn't really work out. So now going back to TDOC, there's this huge controversy. They had this, which came out of nowhere, this $6 billion goodwill impairment. So if we look at their quarterly results, they keep talking about this goodwill impairment. And if you look at it, you can go to their balance sheet and you'll see right here that a year ago, or December 31st, 2021, you can see that the goodwill was $14 billion, right? And here you go. You see the reflection of the write-off of approximately $6 billion, right? Now, all of a sudden, their goodwill goes to 7, 8. Well, first of all, this goodwill number is not some made up number. It's not something where it's like, oh, we value our brand and all this crap at $14 billion. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's literally the amount that they overpaid for a company that they acquired. So now I'm looking back, I'm saying, well, what company did they acquire? So it turns out if we go looking and we say, TDOC, and we go searching, and here we go. Oops, look at this. Back a little while ago, I'm not sure on the date. Yeah, back in 2020, look at this guy. 2020, TDOC finalizes blockbuster deal with Livongo in less than 3 months. So here they go. This is an acquisition. Now look at this acquisition. They bought a massive $18.5 billion acquisition of some company called Livongo. Look at that. Let's go back to their balance sheet. 14 billion, 18.5. You see that? So basically, when you look at it, they acquire this company. They basically are overpaying for it. There's like 2 billion of real tangible assets there in Livongo. The rest of that acquisition is boom, 14.5 billion is all goodwill. What happens now? Suddenly they go out there and they realize that, and they're not telling us very much, they're not being very open. Suddenly they realize, like, oh gosh, this acquisition of this Livongo is worth dog poo on a stick and we got to write it off. So boom, you get a $6 billion impairment charge. This is what it is. It's not like the company's sitting around and where they're making up numbers of what the value of their brand is. That's not what it is. It's attached. Goodwill is attached to an event. It's attached to an acquisition of another company. And a way to look at it, it's the amount that you can't justify. Goodwill is the amount of what you overpaid for a company. Now, it can work out very positive in cases where an acquisition works out and it's really worth it and they don't have to write off that goodwill, right? But in this case, That's what's happening here. So this whole thing, I know Kevin is really good and I like listening to him, but he's just 100% off base in this one. He's got it totally wrong. He's talking about goodwill and blah, 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 the value of the brand. Look, when the acquisition occurs, yes, it's the value of the brand because it's what they're overpaying. Go back to Elon Musk buying Twitter. That's exactly what's happening right now. He's going to overpay for that. And all that amount that he's overpaying, meaning that all that stuff that can't be, that's not tangible assets, that cannot be justified as tangible assets, all that extra money he's paying to get that thing is going to be lumped under goodwill. And sometime in the future, on his, whatever it's going to be, his personal balance sheet, or if it's a company, whatever he's acquiring it, whatever entity he's using to do that, at some point a year or two from now, he's going to have to write off some of it. And that's exactly what's happened to TeleDoc. So I just really wanted to clear this up because I know like Kevin's out there talking about, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. This is where it happened. And this is something as well to watch for companies. If you have companies that have done big acquisitions, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind that they have these big acquisitions that they are, you have a big amount of goodwill, and you can see this goodwill on, it's not like it's hidden. You were looking at this, in December 2021 quarter, you see this huge goodwill amount. That's something to watch out for. If you got a company with a lot of goodwill sitting on there and they've made acquisitions and they're not going to put it together for you. They're not going to put it together for you. You have to kind of figure that out. And if you see that, that's a risk for that company. That's a risk that they're going to have to take that non-cash charge and they're going to have to write it off and it's going to hit their earnings. Now, according to GAAP, the accounting rules, they need to go ahead and review this. They need to review that goodwill on at least an annual basis. So over here on Investopedia, they're talking about events that may trigger goodwill impairment include deterioration in economic conditions, increased competition, loss, et cetera, and all that. Various things. So basically deterioration in that business that you acquired, if that's happening, then you need to write off the value of it. All right, well, that's it for this one. Bye.